So Microsoft recently have announced a new member to the Surface family. So they have the Surface Go. So the Surface Go is kind of a more compact version of the Surface. It's actually starting with a much lower price, starting at $399. So it's a 10-inch device. It weighs about 1.15 pounds. That's not including the touch or the type cover that they have available. So, and it comes in two basic configurations. So, one version that has about 64 gigabyte of storage, but that is a eMMC storage, not a regular standard SSD. So, it will be a little bit slower on the storage side, and it has 4 gigabyte of RAM, and that's in that entry level 399 model. There also will be available a 128 gigabyte SSD version that includes 8 gigabyte of RAM. That version will go for 549. Whether you get the 399 or 549, it both include the same processor. So they both include an Intel 4415Y Pentium Go processor. So this is a fanless processor, so the Surface Go should be silent when it's operating since there's no moving parts or fan. It's passively cooled. So also, as far as the Surface Go, it will ship with Windows 10 in S mode. And what S mode is that the system will only use applications that are published in the Microsoft Store. So you can't go and like download a program off the web from somewhere, from some like random place. Those type of applications will not execute on the system by default. You do have an option to turn off S mode, and then that'll allow the processor to execute any native x86 or x64 app that you may already have, or that you just go randomly download off the web from somewhere. But Microsoft has been really more pushing for people to start using S mode to be in a more secure environment, so to protect more against malware and more for software that has been vetted by them and published to their store. Not really too much unlike how most phones like Android, iOS, iPads, you only pretty much only download stuff from the Google Play Store or from like the Apple iTunes Store. That's the only place where you download those apps. And then the S mode is kind of the same concept as far as that. So also included with the Surface Go, you do get a 30-day trial of Office 365 Home. I believe that comes pre-installed on there, so you'll have that as well. So as far as the processor, let's talk about the processor more. So a lot of times in the past, when you have devices of this particular form factor, they often came with the Intel Atom processor, which was a lot slower. So this processor is a good bump up on the general processing side above the Intel Atom processor. But the big news here is the GPU. The GPU is dramatically faster compared to some of the previous iterations of this device, as well as other similar devices running similar processors, especially like the Intel Atom processor. In fact, it includes the Intel HD Graphics 615, and these graphics that's included in this version are actually faster than what was included just a few years ago in the Surface Pro 3. So the graphics has greatly improved from previous versions. So the 10-inch display that's included with the devices, this is a 1800 by 1200 display. So that's about 217 pixel per inch that's there. So should have really good display on there. And supports multi-touch just like any other Surface device that's out there, and is covered with Corning Gorilla Glass 3. Devices are expected to have up to about 9 hours of video playback out of the box, and there are two cameras, a front-facing and a rear-facing camera, and then there's also support for Windows Hello to authenticate into your system using only your face, which is pretty cool. So this is really the thinnest, lightest Surface that's ever been released up until this point, and pretty much every device says that once they release a new device, like, oh, this is our thinnest, this is our lightest, this is our fastest ever. In the case of this, it's not as fastest, but it's definitely as thinnest and lightest Surface ever that's been released. And in combination with the Surface Go release, there will be additional new type covers as well as mice available for purchase. So they're releasing a new signature type cover that start about $129 for the Surface Go devices. Since it's a little bit smaller, so it needs a little bit smaller specialized keyboard in order to connect to the device. And then they've also releasing, like as I mentioned, a new Surface Mobile my mouse that'll be about $34.99 for that. So there's no requirement to use either one of those accessories, but I'd imagine most people will probably shoot for the keyboard at a minimal. And the new keyboard, it has a really, the Surface devices in general with their type cover, it has a really nice, smooth, and large touchpad that works really well. So I think that would probably suffice for most people. You don't really need to get a separate mouse, and you're not limited to just using Microsoft mouse. You can use any one mouse, Bluetooth or otherwise that you want. And the Surface Go is compatible with the existing Surface Pens. So if you already have a Surface Pen or you're looking at getting one, none of these accessories ship out of the box. So these are all additional expenses that you have to put forward. So it's about $99 to get a Surface Pen, but it's compatible with the device. So when it's all said and done, if you shoot for, like, say, the entry level Surface Go for $399, you pick up a Surface Pen, and then you also pick up a touch cover. You're really looking at about $630 before tax, once you accessory everything up. But in my opinion, the one you really would probably want would be the step up that start at $549 with the 128 gigabyte of SSD and the 8 gigabyte of RAM. I think that's the better sweet spot as far as the system and as far as the configuration options that they have available. And that'll really put you more so around the $780 mark for that. So like if you're looking for a new device, and this one kind of checking a lot of the boxes you're kind of looking for a hybrid device, something lightweight, kind of portable. You don't need like necessarily the top best performance type of things. So if you're doing things like browsing the internet, maybe some office work and things like that, I think this device will be a very, very good choice.